Of all the 16 competing countries, Portugal were probably the most impressive and certainly among the most stylish in their first games, albeit in a 1-1 draw with Denmark at Hillsborough. Now they've moved a few miles south to the city ground here in Nottingham. That was a first touch for Folha, the one changing the starting lineup. This is Rui Costa. And to accommodate Folha, the Portuguese have switched their goal scorer from the first game, Sapinto, into a midfield role. He takes the place of Luciano. And the first injury of the game is suffered by Vedat. Almost self-inflicted. Vedat, the 22-year-old from the Karabük club, plays in the Turkish second division. Turkey in all white. And, they have the vociferous backing of around 15,000 supporters. And they were trying to bring in the big player there, Safet. He's another introduction into this game. He came on as a substitute in the defeat by Croatia. And the first touch of the ball for Vitor Bahia. It's been confirmed he will play for Bobby Robson's Barcelona next season. And the ball put out because, as you can see, Hakan, the Turkish striker and their principal hope for a goal today, has an injury. And Shandor Pool, today's referee from Hungary, takes the sensible precaution of making him go off for treatment. There is Fernando Couto, said to be a target for both Manchester United and Rangers. This is Elder. Cut out by Alpay. Suspiciously like a foul throw, but the referee saw nothing wrong with that. It is snapped up anyway in the Turkish midfield by Tugay. The first game of the City Ground during the week was largely disappointing. It took a late goal from the substitute for Croatia to beat Turkey. Abdullah battles away hard, but loses possession in a key area of the field, and this will present a chance for Portugal as the ball is slipped forward. And the intervention from Recep, who's been brought into the Turkish defence, was a vital one. Well, this time was by Elder, this uncompromising centre-back from Benfica. There aren't as many Benfica players in the Barcelona side as you would think. Just Elder, Dimash, the left-back, and João Pinto in the starting lineup. Hakan is back on the field and looking to get on the end of this free kick. He almost did do too. It spins away for Recep. And at the second attempt, he knocks it forward and straight to Vitor Bahia. Now Dimash. Good ball too to João Pinto. Folha for Rui Costa. Made some penetrating runs against Denmark and will be in a good position again here. Thought he had his ankle tapped, but the referee was in a good position. This referee is one of the best in Europe. Interesting to see how he copes today. Shandor Pool, there's Antonio Oliveira. Figo. Luis Figo has been an outstanding success in his first season with Barcelona, and he is one of those forward now. Slightly wayward pass, however. Oh, and a giveaway there from Fernando Couto. But Paulino Santos comes to cover up his embarrassment. And Turkey worked very energetically in their opening fixture against Croatia without really harming them. Floated across. And reset in very sharply. They made nothing of it, and that strong defender Dimas brings Portugal away. Now Rui Costa talking of strength, and he strides on impressively. Good touch back from Reset. Fatih Terim has become an extremely popular man since he took over Turkey and brought them to their first European Championship finals, though he abdicates the job at the end of his reign, at the end of these European Championships. There's a lovely turn. The final ball, as so often in Euro 96, wasn't of good enough quality from Sergen. Paulo Sousa. Down the line from Dimas. João Pinto climbed so well. And an impressive build-up once more. And they might still the chances. João Pinto. And the goalkeeper Rushdu came from his line to whip it away from the striker's toe end. Already encouraging signs from both teams that they want to play good football, and here the Turkish challenge there as he went rolling over Safet. It produced a chorus of boos from the Turkish fans, and there are plenty of them here at the City Ground who felt there may have been a penalty for the tackle on Safet. Now here it is, the ball is knocked in very well by Sergen. There's the challenge, and it was a strong one, but not strong enough to impress the referee that any action should be taken. No more than a throw-in then for Ogun. It's a good long throw too, met by Elder. Rui Costa was asleep, and that could present another chance to Safet, and he whips it across the face of that Portuguese goal. It's a bristling start from Turkey. And the tall figure of Safet is the one who is causing panic in the Portuguese defence. It was a slack piece of work from Rui Costa, though. The ball nicked forward from Ogun, and then Safet smashed it across the face of goal. And Safet, already in the opening minutes of this game, is posing a problem for Portugal. Turks are not short on confidence. And again, there was Safet there. Had a really good start to this game. And they're stroking the ball around very nicely too, and they're forward in numbers here. Can they get another shot in on goal? And this time Vitor Bahia makes the save, and it had to be made from Oyuz too. Oyuz, who's been instrumental in some good work by Turkey in these opening few moments. Well, Portugal will have come into this match as clear favourites on the strength of their impressive performance against Denmark, but it's Turkey who've made the brighter start, if anything. Portuguese legend Eusebio will be as concerned as those on the Portuguese bench. They have an abundance of talent. Was there a trip on Sarpintu there? No, said Shandopu. It's been a good 10 minutes, and it might get better yet. Not a totally convincing clearance, and Follier will continue his dash. He's all left foot, but what a good left foot it is. And he threads it into that area. Hakan. They do break with some enthusiasm, Turkey. Here's Tugay. Who's the captain? Well, they're playing some good stuff, and here goes Hakan. He'll get a shot in from here. Didn't trouble Vita Bayer. But the Turks are showing a willingness to shoot on sight. It's a free kick. Such a hard man to mark, João Pinto. Sosa, Rui Costa, and another free kick for the challenge again on the same man, João Pinto. Follier is on the outside of Dimash and whips the ball across. Good clearing header, only as far as Rui Costa again. They move out sharply with Recep, and he's hit a terrific long ball there, just too long. João Pinto again, the one who gives chase, wins the corner, first of the day. Without doubt is the best side that Turkey has ever produced. They have a rather undistinguished record prior to these European Championships. Indeed, only once before in the 1954 World Cup have they qualified for a major tournament for the final stages. Follier with the corner for Turkey, for Portugal. Short. Stabbed away only as far as Paulo Sosa. Now again, you always feel that the Turks have a chance when they break like this, as they get men forward in numbers, but it needs something rather better than that. A look of exasperation on the face of Ogun. Strong man, Luis Figo, and he's well involved in this move. Plays the ball through, must be offside. The officials certainly have that right. The Portuguese movement is exemplary. Really wayward knockback, and it's presented Portugal with a chance here. And João Pinto is well covered. Strong work from Vedat. And now Tugay. Again. It's nicely done again. And so is that. Just that fraction too far for Hakan to pursue the pass. Paulino Santos. Figo. long break from Rui Costa. I think Sapinto just checked his run, thinking he was in an offside position. Some lovely flowing football from both sides. Well aware of the importance of today's result, of course. Portugal having just taken the 1 point so far, and Turkey none. So while it wouldn't be inconceivable for these sides to go through if they were beaten today, the victory really is imperative. Paulo Sousa. Well, it looked an elementary pass from the Juventus player to play there, but he got it all wrong. Oh, well, I think they're back home in the sunshine of Lisbon or Porto. Nice warm day in Nottingham. And a good atmosphere created by two sets of travelling supporters who've been great ambassadors for their countries so far. Turks accepted defeat very well against Croatia, and the Portuguese fans made it quite a spectacle at Hillsborough on Sunday when they met up with their Danish counterparts. Oh, again, it's well spotted, well intervened by Vedat, and here's an opening, and the shot is on target again and smothered by Vita Bayer. Sergen had stolen into space, and he made that space wide enough for a straightforward shot. And he prefers the left foot. It was too straight. Sergen, who scored in the 2-1 victory over Switzerland in the qualifiers. Now Follier, who scored a couple of weeks ago against the Republic of Ireland in Dublin. The wide man would be Rui Costa. Drives at the heart of that defence. Well, he came close a couple of times in the opening game against Denmark. Just seems to drag the shot a little. But here is a powerful midfield player. One of the more impressive so far in Euro 96. He's not afraid to have a go. And one of these days, he's going to find the target. Dimash, the South African-born left-sided player. Figu. Rui Costa. João Pinto wins so many free kicks, but for once it's a throw in the other way. Moving forward is Tugai. Reset. Knocked on again. Well, that man Safet. Oh, and Vita Bayer. Well, he had a nightmare in the opening game against Denmark. It was his clearance which cannoned away off the head of Mikael Beck, which led to a goal for Brian Laudrup. So his heart may well have been pounding then. Much pressure on the Portuguese captain, who's signed a contract, we understand, for £5 million to join Barcelona. For the moment, his thoughts are on repelling this Turkish throw-in. These are long and they're quite dangerous. Again, it's a good intervention just when it was needed. But two guys pass, not so good. Portugal not afraid to mix up the passes, long and short, and they have a corner out of that. Vedat complaining his shirt was tucked. But that was an example of the long clearance proving beneficial for Portugal, who come looking for the first goal. Paulo Sousa, just too far for Elder. No, it's Rushdie with a long clearance, and again it could have produced danger. Nicely knocked into the gap, and there could well be something here for João Pinto. Spectacularly, but unsuccessfully. The acrobatics, I'm afraid, there did not pay off for once for Antonio Folha. Rui Costa. Turks again play their way out of trouble. Abdullah. Oh, by Elder. Abdullah, who's missed only one international since Fatih Tarim took over, and Elder really just went across him there. And the referee sensibly kept his yellow cards in his pocket. Certainly nothing in it at the moment. Nice little flick on. And there's some invention about Turkey today. Abdullah flicks it in. It's away by Fernando Couto. They are certainly not overawed by the occasion, Turkey, in this their first European Championship finals. You just wonder if they're capable of scoring a goal. In fact, if there has been a disappointment about Euro '96, it's been the quality of goal scoring, or the lack of it rather. They're just averaging over a goal a game at the moment. Dimash. And for once, João Pinto didn't control it well, but he's already got the ball back. Paulinho Santos down the line. Free kick is given against Pinto. Another withering look from him towards linesman and referee alike. 6 of one and half a dozen of the other there. Decent looking cross because Hakan is a tall man, and here's another shooting chance to work. Oh, he's down in the penalty area, and the referee will have a long look at that, and Safet raises his arms to the heavens, and again Shandor Pool is unimpressed. Just as he is with that piece of theatricals. Well, that was quite a shout from Safet and for Turkey. Here it is. Now then, Safet was juggling with the ball. It's starting to strike his own arm, actually. And as he goes on there, well, Paulinho Santos, I think, would have felt very aggrieved from that angle. Here's another one. I thought he may well have controlled the ball with his arm at one stage there. I'm pretty sure he did. So make up your own mind on that. Figu's shot dribbles through without any untoward trouble for Rushdu. Safet. His introduction has certainly pepped up Turkey's ideas up front. Abdullah, and he's done well, galloped onto that. Knows there are men in the middle, but he can't deliver the goods. Abdullah is one of those who plays for Trabzonspor, who defeated Aston Villa season before last in Europe. The only fair-haired player in the side. Paulo Sousa. Rui Costa. Oh, great tackle from Reset. João Pinto's done really well. The tackle was good. Spins away to Figu. And Figu again continues his run. And he'll have a free kick out of this. Abdullah, and I think it was Vedat who caught him. It's the first opportunity Portugal have had to send up their big defenders. There is Elder. Fernando Couto will also be in for this one. 0-0 the score at the City Ground. And it's Figu away from Recep. Tavares and Luciano, two of the Portuguese substitutes today. Paulo Sousa. The Turks are doing very well to get bodies around when they have to do. And they've broken quite intelligently once or twice already. Probably created more chances than Portugal as well. I think that was just unfortunate. Rui Costa flicking out with the boot, was attempting to make contact with the ball, and instead he made contact with Alpay's anatomy. Now, which part of it? That's the question. I thought so. And blue groin in the morning. For once, Safet's control wasn't good there. So Rui Costa just nicks the ball forward for Sapinto. Some lovely passing from Portugal. The suspicion in the first game was that they didn't have any real firepower, though, at the end of all the neat passing. And so far, that's persisted today. the chance for Follier. And then Figu couldn't quite control it. That for once is a wayward pass. And they can't afford to hang around and bemoan their fortune. Fortunately, Recep was right on the job for Turkey, and he feeds Safet down the right channel. The Portuguese are not afraid to just knock the ball around and wait for the right moment to release the longer pass. Rui Costa, a lovely little shimmy, and on he goes. This could be danger. Still Rui Costa, almost overran himself there. Oh, he's threaded his way, beautiful. Lovely work. Oh, what a miss. Sapinto, the man who scored the goal against Denmark, had the clearest opening of this game so far after some brilliant play from Rui Costa. He couldn't finish it. Rui Costa here. He holds off Ogun. He holds off Abdullah. Then between the two of them, looked up, saw what was on, pulled it back, and Sapinto, it's one of the misses of the tournament. Brilliant play from Rui Costa. It was easier to score than to miss. So that thought persists again about Portugal, that their approach play is superb to watch. Their finishing leaves quite a lot to be desired. Now, what about Turkey's finishing? Ditto. Abdullah, strong tackle on Figu. And here is a chance now for Turkey. Can they finish? Hakan! And he is as wayward at that end as Sapinto was at the other 60 seconds earlier. Well, the Portuguese defence showing some vulnerability here. Abdullah, who'd won the ball, lofted it in well. It's knocked down to Hakan, and it looks simple enough, but he drags it way wide. Hakan has a good goal-scoring record, but I'm afraid that we've not seen the best of him here as yet. Turkey now have a corner. Alpine is one of those who's gone up to try and meet Sergen's cross. Sergen floated in, and a good catch. Itabaya. Oh, and a wretched clearance. Straight to Tugay. Abdullah. Safet turned his man illegally. But it's no exaggeration to say that it should at least be 1-1 in this match by now. Led by Paulo Sousa. Rui Costa forward to João Pinto. Now they might get a break. Again, the white shirts mass the ranks. And ball's been given there. You get the feeling that here are two emerging sides. The Portuguese, of course, have built on the successes at world youth level, having won that particular tournament twice in 1989 and 1991. And the Turks have undoubtedly developed in recent seasons with the bulk of this squad, although Fatih Terim has added to it. fact, his first match in charge, having taken over from Sepp Piontek. He made 12 changes in the squad, and they won 2-1 against Poland. Abdullah. Safet covered by Elder. Carlos Antonio Oliveira, who had his 44th birthday at the weekend, has said he wants Portugal to be remembered for their style of play here in England. And they lack for nothing in that. But they are lacking goals. And it's Turkey again now asking the questions. And another plucked out of the air by Vita Baya. If the cross had been fractionally higher, it could well have led to the first goal. A shortage of goals, no shortage of entertainment. And this fella has provided much of it. Rui Costa, one of the most impressive players of the whole of Euro 96 for me. It's a free kick. Not taken in the right place. Rui Costa really looks an outstanding player. There's word that Benfica want him back from Fiorentina, the club they sold him to for £5 million. And he looks worth every penny by today's prices. That's a good ball. João Pinto in space. Surrounded by the white shirts. Abdullah's the one who got back, and if only he'd looked up and seen a man running to his left, he could have played him in there. As it is, Turkey break with Abdullah. Again, Rui Costa at the hub of things here for Portugal. So comfortable on the ball, which is back with Turkey. And Oyuz, who's the highly influential captain of Turkey. He wasn't chosen for the first game. Up to Paulinho Santos, who's not seen much of the ball today, in that right-sided attacking position he likes to take up. Sarpinto. Folia. Oh, it's got to be a free kick. Recep, body check the man. And Antonio Folia, the one change in the starting lineup, walks away because the referee was unimpressed, but it was a corner anyway. Oh, and that's what it's like in that penalty area. Oh, some real pushing and shoving going on there. So much jostling. The referee is quite right. Rushdu and João Pinto both disputing space inside that area. Anyway, Figu has this corner, and the keeper from his line, and João Pinto just couldn't get up after the first header from Fernando Couto. Oh, lovely dummy, Rui Costa, and here's a chance! Oh, and stabbed wide, and it just will not go in for Portugal. Elder on the end of that. There were three of them in the line. I think Sarpinto got the touch on, which Elder failed to convert. It's Folia who lifts the ball in. The Turkish defence really confused by that flick through from Sarpinto, and then Elder scuffs it wide. And Portugal continue to fritter the best chances. Yep, free kick given. Paulo Sousa was the offender. Now, Turkey haven't had many free kicks at this sort of range to show us what they've been working at in the build-up to Euro 96. Abdullah can hit them with his left foot. It's not Abdullah, and Vita Bayer will take those all day. Coming in as it did from Sergen. Rui Costa. Directing operations again. Good turn by Figu. And he's here too for the shots. Wide of the target. Luis Figo, the man from Barcelona, gets the crowd to their feet, but still that goal eludes Portugal. Nice little 1-2 played with Sapinto, but a wayward finish again. Well, one of these days, Portugal will give somebody a spanking. But until they find a goal scorer, they will struggle to make an impact. Played by Rushdu. Dimash. Paulinho Santos. Inside the closing moments of an entertaining, if scoreless, half. Scoreless for the moment, but Abdullah might try and do something about that. Well, he'll have a free kick. Rui Costa was a little exasperated. And it's the first yellow card of the game. It's been shown to Abdullah, who won the free kick. Now he apologises to Shandor Pool, so at least he knew his indiscretion, obviously spoke out of turn after Rui Costa's challenge. But at least this referee has been fair so far in this game, and that is the first caution. Now, can Portugal break here and get something for their supremacy in play? Well, Turkey started well enough and have had a claim for a penalty. In fact, it was this man, Safet, who pulled a shot right across the face of the Portuguese goal in the early stages. Looks like Sergen. No, in fact, it's Ogun. Looks as though it could be quite a serious injury, that, clutching the knee. So Fatih Terim has a problem just before half-time. So yes, you can see the collision there with Figu. And although he got back onto his feet immediately, Ogun then went down again and requires treatment. Well, it's almost half-time at the City Ground, so it's probably not worth making a substitution if there's a possibility of getting the influential Ogun back. As we move into time added on. Dimash and João Pinto combining now in what must surely be the last move of the half. Figu. Abdullah. Worked his way out of trouble then neatly. And I think Paulinho Santos may have been booked there. It's definitely Paulinho who takes him. And he was yellow carded, and that means that Paulinho Santos will miss the next game. That's his second yellow in 2 games. Hakan here for Turkey. Didn't go to anybody in white. It does now. Alpay. And now again that poor ball really brings the half to a conclusion here in the sunshine in Nottingham. The game has been good enough. It's been highly entertaining. Portugal should have had a couple of goals for certain. Rui Costa has been quite brilliant in midfield, and he set up the outstanding chance of the half for Sapinto. He couldn't take it, and neither could Turkey take their best chance when it presented itself to Safet. So at half-time it is still here, 0-0. Goals are at a premium in Euro 96. Second half at the City Ground begins with both sides making a substitution. Central defender Rahim has replaced Ogun for Turkey. Ogun, who was injured in the first half. And Tavares, who's normally a midfield player, replaces Antonio Folha, who played wide on the left for Portugal. So a slight rearrangement for them. I think that Sapinto will probably move up front alongside João Pinto. Here straight away is Paulo Sousa. Rui Costa. Rui Costa's ball in, and another one, and straight away it's a punch round the post by Rushdu from Figu. Well, Figu got this header arrowing in towards the top angle. Rui Costa slightly fortunate it came back to him in what could have been an offside position, funnily enough. Figu's header was maybe just going outside, but Rushdu couldn't risk that. Dimash, who picks it up and carves an opening for himself down the left. Figu. Paulo Sousa. Paulinho Santos thought of a shot there, and he's got to go scuttling back. Knocked up towards Hakan. Figu figuring prominently in the early forays of the second half, and he'll be forward again now. Lovely skill from Ricardo Sapinto, but he was a little theatrical in the way he dived. The referee was not to be fooled. Rui Costa continues to be hugely influential in this game. It's wide again, but it took an intervention by the Turkish centre-back there, with again Rui Costa at the hub of things. Then João Pinto knocking the ball through for Sapinto, and it was the substitute Rahim who was in the right place at the right time. A corner, but a goal kick was the decision. Away by Fernando Couto. hopefully the game will follow the pattern of the Switzerland-Holland game last night, which was highly entertaining in the first 45 minutes without producing a goal, but did in the end provide 2 for the spectators. At the moment we are looking for the first goal of this game in Group D. João Pinto, again the one on the ball, and Rui Costa trying to help him out. So again. Tugai. Bit of space found here by Safet, who runs impressively in the defence and continues his run too. He's just barged out of the way. And again he appeals to the heavens and will get no reward. Safet is quite a handful. He's a very strong player. He went outside Fernando Couto. The goalkeeper comes across. He was balked clearly, but I think he'd overrun the ball in any event. Just get the feeling if we got the 1 goal, it might really open the floodgates in this sort of a match. Dimash battles for it well, but then loses out to the substitute Raheem. Excellent work by Alpay. Rather optimistic cross. Tavares, Paulinho Santos. Tavares again involved, and now João Pinto. Rui Costa, the one you think might make things happen, and here he is now, Rui Costa, but... well, Sa Pinto there. I think he's got quite a case. Glad to see that again. Looks entirely crestfallen. Safet. He's battled away very well. This is Alpay. Vedat. And Hakan tried to angle the pass. So he wasn't very impressive with that. And it's Dimash who's made good ground already. Point of attack switched to Paulinho Santos. And here is Paulinho Santos, who plays for Porto. He's won 3 titles in his home country. That's a bad ball by Tavares, really handed the initiative back to Turkey then. Both sides have made the odd mistake, but the other has not been able to profit at all as yet. Abdullah. Paulinho Santos. Fernando Couto. Well, they switched the ball intelligently from right to left. Just up in the penalty area where they've got to hurt the opposition and string the passes together. Here is a good run. Dimash was waiting out on that touchline. Rui Costa comes and says he wants the ball, and now he'll drive in hard. Hakan. Vito Baia is not at all convincing with those clearances, and Turkey have the ball in a decent position here, and Hakan will charge across to the angle of the penalty area, but loses out to Dimash without too much effort being put in, it has to be said. There's plenty of spirit about this Turkish team, though. All credit to Fatih Terim for that. He really has instilled a will to win in them. Paulinho. Shindopul, the Hungarian official, says that's a free kick Portugal's way as Figu rolls around in agony. Well, he's been voted one of the best imported players into Spain this year, Figu, with Barcelona. Abdullah is rather a crunching tackle. He just charged into his man, who looked to be grimacing even before he went down. So the army of physiotherapists are around now, just to check on the extent of Figu's injury. Little João Pinto said at Benfica by their supporters that the Benfica team these days is João Pinto and 10 others. He scored 18 goals for them last season, including a hat-trick against Sporting, which went down very well in Lisbon in one half of it. Now free kick, and Rui Costa is about to deliver it for Portugal. They need a breakthrough. Oh, and they might still get one here. The slipshod defending. Figu looks fit to return. So just over 10 minutes played in the second half at the City Ground at Nottingham. And still it's 0-0. And still the Turks pump these long high balls in, which are meat and drink for Vito Baia. There's a longer ball from Paulo Sousa for João Pinto to chase. Really booked his place in the Turkish squad with his performance in the 3-2 win over the Ukraine. And the referee is taking a name. I'm quite sure what that was about anyway. Here we go, with Turkey building on the edge of that Portuguese penalty area. They've done well here, they've created some good space. Just made it difficult from the angle, but here's Hakan, and right across the face of goal, Fernando Couto, unchallenged, was able to head clear. And still we have this problem of both sides putting something on the end of promising-looking attacks. João Pinto's run well here. Nothing for him there, and the referee was in good position. Time for a goal, that is for sure. Ball laid in to Safet, and they're creating the positions well. They're manoeuvring shooting situations, but unable to take it that time. Recep. Safet again, the one who held it up nicely for Recep's arrival, but he screwed it a long, long way wide. the spaces for goals have been created, but not taken. Sosa. Figu, Dimash on the outside. They're playing pretty patterns, but Paulo Sosa, with a disappointing shot again, continues the trend of this match. Paulo Sosa yet to score an international goal. Figu there has got 4 for his country. I think it was indeed who was shown a yellow card. Perhaps he came back on before he'd been told to do so. Rui Costa. Now it comes to João Pinto. There might be something here. Rui Costa battles hard for it, but again it's the white shirts of Turkey that bring the ball away. And again they fail to build on it. There goes João Pinto. Just couldn't pick himself up in time from that strong challenge by Raheem, which was a perfectly fair one, and no complaints from the striker. Did dive in a little. He did go for the ball, I suppose. Inside for Hakan. Can he produce something? Well, I was going to say something spectacular. I'm afraid he produced something very unspectacular. He scored a most thrilling goal in the game against Switzerland, which persuaded Torino to take him to Italy. But after only a few months, he became homesick and returned to Turkey, Hakan. So they start again. The ball worked across to Dimash. Figu will be shadowed all the way by Alpay. Did well there, Figu. Now the cross. Here's the danger again. And Pinto. And even now they can't force it through. João Pinto, no more than 3 or 4 yards out. Again failed, I think, even to get in a shot. And the Portuguese fans must wonder whenever their side is going to get a goal here. It was knocked in by Dimash. The defender got it all wrong. He mistimed the jump. João Pinto brings it down on the chest. And it's hardly a toe poke, and it strikes the goalkeeper, Rushdu, and is an easy clearance. Well, I've said it before, if only Portugal had a finisher, they would be some side. Well, Safet has done pretty well today, despite a miss in the first half, but he's replaced by Tolunai. Tolunai, who started the game, the first game of this group against Croatia, known as the Tank. Dimash. Well, you keep thinking if Portugal carry on making chances as they have done, they're bound to get a goal sooner or later. Turkey's turn to try and underline some of their excellent approach play. Will just be kept in down that touchline by Oyuz. Cadet, a Glasgow Celtic player. that surely, the shot there you got of Cadet must be an indication that they're getting a little desperate with who is going to score a goal for them. So Georges Cadet may well be entering the fray any minute now as the tackle leaves João Pinto on the deck. Vedat, the man who put him there, will be cautioned for that. So he and Abdullah have cautions now from this afternoon, along with Paulinho Santos. And João Pinto, the man who scored against Denmark, but who missed a very easy chance today, gives way to Cadet. And the message clearly from the Portuguese coach, Antonio Oliveira, to Cadet must be go out there and just get me a goal. So everything else they do, they are excellent, Portugal, and this could well be the moment. It's going to be a corner. Cadet straight away was in at the heart of the action to win that corner kick. He had a good record at Celtic at the end of last season, with 5 goals in 6 appearances. Just 1 for his country might make him a hero today. This is Rui Costa. Drilled across there, and here's the shot, and here is the goal indeed for Portugal. Scored by Fernando Couto. Well, it had to come, you felt, that Portugal have taken such a long time to hit the Turkish net. But now the man from Parma, who could well be destined for Manchester United or Rangers, Fernando Couto, has given Portugal the lead they richly deserve. It seemed as though the chance had gone again as the Turkish defence scrambled the ball away, but Fernando Couto's shot, much too good for Rushdu. Rui Costa who laid it back. It smacked across, and Fernando Couto drills it low and hard into the corner. Portugal 1, Turkey 0 with 66 minutes played. And now it will be interesting to see what the Turks can do about that. It was rather later than this one. They went behind against Croatia, 86 minutes in fact, so they didn't have much time to change tactics. But the excellent approach play of Portugal has deserved that goal. Turkey attack themselves. Tolunay, and he's in here again. And it was the goal scorer, Fernando Couto, who was in his way. And a calmly cushioned header from Tavares. So at last they have something to sing about. It's his 4th goal for his country, Fernando Couto, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Because Portugal were just beginning to wonder if ever they would break this Turkish resistance. Can they build on that now? It almost got through then. Brought away by Rahim. Rejab. Tough little battler. Looks as though Arif will replace Oyuz, who takes off the captain's armband. So number 18, Arif, a highly experienced player. the stars of Galatasaray's victory over Manchester United a couple of years ago, is on. And so they've now played all their 3 substitutes, with Arif Rahim and Tolunai on. But Fernando Couto's goal is the one that counts. Rui Costa had just nicked the ball back here for Paulo Sousa, and it was hammered into the corner of that net with some precision. Portugal just used the 1 substitute so far, all 3 on for Turkey, who desperately need a goal now. Otherwise, they can start thinking of their return flight. With just the 1 remaining game to come against Denmark. That will be at Hillsborough on Sunday. Not on Sunday, rather, middle of next week. I forget what day it is at times, during Euro 96. Portugal have got the 1 goal that counts, and having taken this corner short, Rui Costa might help to tee up number 2. João Pinto flung himself between the Turkish defenders there. It was a brave header from the little man, but it soared over the top of the Turkish crossbar. But they continue to create chances, Portugal, with unnerving ease. Rui Costa, and there's the cross for João Pinto, and it flew over by no more than a foot. But so long as it stays at 1-0, Turkey have a shout. Recep tripped. And the referee may well reach for a yellow card this time. He will. It's Tavares. Portugal's 2nd booking of the afternoon. The 1st of the tournament for Tavares, though. Now, what a finish we'd have if Turkey could only score, but Fernando Couto gets the ball away. Knocked in dangerously. Well played by Vitor Bahia. Looks as though Alpay's had a crack in the mouth as we go rowing down the River Trent. Well, they can all play, this Portuguese side, whether in attack, in midfield or in defence. They're a lovely team to watch. To be a free kick. Paulinho Santos had forged his way between the 2 white-shirted defenders. Just a question of who Shandor Pool decides was the main aggressor here. Looks as though it may well be Rahim. So a surfeit of yellow cards all of a sudden. Yes, it was Rahim initially, and then, oh, you see, that was even worse probably. A little tap by Vedat. But Rahim is the one cautioned. Tavares booked himself only a moment earlier, now leaves the scene. While Portugal still have 2 substitutes that they can call on if they should so choose. Rui Costa. First time ball in, and the first time headed too, and although Fernando Couto puts the ball into the net for a 2nd time, it was offside prior to that. Cadet. from the back, urged on by the Turkish supporters, who will be hoping against hope that their side is not going to lose out to a single goal for the second match running here on the same ground. And that's the way it's looking at the moment. As Portugal build again. A less impressive final ball that time. Tavares returns. Play on, says the referee, and play on Turkey will. But if Portugal should come through this match with victory, they'll move on to 4 points, which will put them in a very strong position indeed. With Croatia's game against Denmark to come next at Hillsborough. Always promised to be a highly competitive group, this one. Not a lot to choose between any of the 4 nations. And I think Portugal have won many admirers with their style of football. And you would feel that they can certainly get better too. And here's another foul and another yellow card. So the Hungarian official is suddenly being asked to produce a crop of yellow cards. The latest shown to the substitute Tolunay means that he is out of Turkey's final game in this group against Denmark, because he was also booked against Croatia. Well, he's known as the tank, and he's come on, and within 5 minutes he's booked. Well, I hear for Portugal an interesting substitution indeed, because with just under quarter of an hour to go, one of the star performers, Benfica's João Pinto, will be replaced by the youngest man in the Portuguese squad, Hugo Porfirio, who is just 22 years of age and made his debut only 2 weeks ago in Dublin against the Republic of Ireland. Look for João Pinto from his coach, Antonio Oliveira. Well, João Pinto perhaps should have scored a few minutes ago. 2-0, I think Portugal would have been home and dry, but it's still just the single goal separating these sides. And there could be something here for Hakan. Splendid tackle, Fernando Couto. Then Rui Costa. It was a rather tired-looking pass from Figu. Good flick through again from Hakan. Tolunay. And the youngster Porfirio. And again Porfirio. Nicely knocked in here. And just as he tried to drag the ball across, the challenge was strong enough to deny him the space he required, and so Figu for Portugal. Maybe took the wrong option there, gave Rui Costa a little chance. Cadet. Splendidly brought away by Raheem. Did well there, Raheem. Here goes Recep. Still they can't get a break, but here's Abdullah. He'll try and get one. No! And a splendid block again, Fernando Couto. Maybe he just took fractionally too long, Abdullah. But we've not only seen a goal-scoring skill employed by Fernando Couto today, we've seen 2 excellent defensive blocks from the tall, shaggy-haired defender. In here again, he's the man who clears. And that will finally find its way through for a goal kick. But they do nominate men of the match at each game in Euro 96. And for my money, Fernando Couto is leading by the proverbial mile today. Fatih Terim will give up his job as coach of Turkey after Euro 96. It's strongly rumoured he'll take over from Graham Souness at Galatasaray. Little time left for the Turks now if they are to stay in Euro 96. Lovely back heel from Cadet, and then Rui Costa. Paulo Sousa loses out. Hakan will be in the middle if they can get some decent service into him. Here he goes, and he got the shot in, but there was no sting in it. But Hakan from Galatasaray, with a goal-scoring record of 14 in 29 internationals, is willing to have a go, and he didn't even spin on this. He just tried to work the shot beyond Vitor Baia without success. Portugal within minutes of moving to the head of Group D. And I think they're pretty good value for that. Denmark versus Croatia should be a very interesting game, the next match in this group. Well, that's good refereeing. You saw him with the whistle poised at his lips in case the break was on, but now it's back with Portugal. And they might get something here. It could be a second. Oh, he just eluded Cadet. The ball may have just gone out and then come back into play. It was Tavares who made the run. Well, he stepped over the line with the ball there. Play continues with Turkey in possession, and good possession too. Crossed too long once again. Kept in by Paulinho Santos. So if he'd have wanted to waste up a few seconds, he could have let it go out. And now it's Rui Costa, who always drives forward impressively. And he continues his run. And then the back heel was delightful. Nearly opened the way for Cadet. Would have been rather fortuitous. It was a ricochet which allowed Rui Costa to get the pass in. Move forward in numbers. Look at that, it's a long white line of players there. But really, for the chances they've had, Portugal should probably have won this game by about 3-0. They might have a second goal now. No, offside given. Cadet just failing to time his run onto the end of Figu's pass. Cadet slightly fortunate there because his boot was rather high. Long from Vedat. It was a good clearing header from Dimash. Now Paulo Sousa. He's offside. Terim, who won a record at the time, 51 caps for his country as a player. love the opportunity to coach abroad. The feeling is he'll stay in Turkey for the time being. Hit long, and they might have chances even now, Turkey. Came back off the knee of Dimash. Well, they have been caught offside on quite a number of occasions in this half, so slightly frustrating for the coach, who would be happy to hear the final whistle now. 8 times they've been caught off, in fact. Inside the last 5 minutes, Portugal 1, Turkey 0. Which would be a fair result, if not an indication of the way the game has gone. Turkey have entertained at times, but not created as many chances as they would like, but they might still create something here. Abdullah, the first time ball in, away by Fernando Couto. Offside yet again, Cadet. Well, I think he's been on the field 15 minutes and he's been offside probably 5 times. Again, Couto, the rock on which that founded, and now Cadet is onside. And here's a shot. It whistles wide from the substitute Porfirio. What a nice moment that would have been for him to score his first international goal. Hugo Porfirio, the youngest member of the squad, just took a bend the wrong way. So Eusebio savours what could be another victory. Certainly looks to be that way. Certainly to be their credit, if they got a draw out of this now, Turkey. They do battle hard for one another. They do struggle to score goals. Abdullah. Two-guy made the run, wins the throw. Paulo Sousa, so influential in the Juventus midfield last season. Abdullah knows that time is of the essence and that it's running out, and he'll get nothing for that. Turkey really have to do something sensational now. They've got to get men forward into the Portuguese half. They really haven't threatened Vitor Bayo very much in this game as yet, but there is still time and they'll have a free kick here. Sergen hacked down by Paulo Sousa. Now will they pay the penalty for that, Portugal? Vitor Bayo, who once went over 1,000 minutes without conceding a goal, probably has only another 2 minutes to withstand here. And if he can prevent Turkey scoring, they'll move on to 4 points, Portugal. But this is in a good position. Can Turkey do something dramatic about this game at the City Ground now? Is there a sting in the tail of the game? No. So again, we'll be more than bitterly disappointed with that effort. Futile, I think, was the only word for it. Never threatened the goal at all. Rui Costa, strong as always, actually buffeted away from the ball, and Tugai slides it into the path of Abdullah. "90 minutes played." Oh, it was cracked against the Turkish man there. And they might still have something from this match. No, he climbs on the shoulders of the opponent. Up against Dimash, and he's climbing all over him. Rajab. It's the Portuguese supporters who are singing at the moment. The Turkish supporters have certainly added some dash and some colour to Euro 96, but they've not seen their team summon up a goal as yet. Koto delivers it long. Porfirio loses out. Now Tolunai. A big, powerful lad, Tolunai, and he needs to be up in that penalty area. Here is Tugai. On for Hakan. And again, it's Fernando Couto who has to be the man of this match, who shepherds the ball out of play. He was too strong for Hakan. Turkey have certainly had their share of possession in this game as we move towards 3 minutes of stoppage time added, and we'll continue with a Turkish free kick. So they're still encouraged to believe they could have one last assault on the Portuguese goal, and it'll be everybody back behind the ball as Abdullah clips it in there. Hakan went for it, and it's cleared for Porfirio. And he loses out to Abdullah again. Turkey giving it everything in this final assault. Well, you can hear whistling around the ground, but I assure you the match hasn't finished. And here is Tugai. Well wide. Well, the look on his face says it all. He hangs his head, not in shame, because they've battled hard, Turkey, but disconsolate is probably the right word, and that was a poor effort. Some weary limbs out there now And I think the signal there from Elder was to the referee, said, come on, call it all off, we've had enough. Sosa's got a crack on his big toe, I think. Goals continue to be scarce at Euro 96, but one by this man, Fernando Couto, was sufficient for Portugal to go to the head of Group D. A deserved victory, which should have been more emphatic, really. Portugal continue to give the impression of a stylish side who need a striker. It was one of their tall defenders who won the day for them today. Portugal 1, Turkey 0.